Good morning, folks, and welcome into the College Football Kickoff Show, Week 12 edition, presented to you by 4-Star Sports Media. I'm your host, Wes Pruitt. Welcome in all college football fans and ladies and gentlemen across the country. We're coming to you live from 4-Star Sports Media Studios here in Fayetteville, Arkansas, streaming right now live on our YouTube channel and X over it at 4-Star Sports. And if you're not following, it says hit the follow button, hit the subscribe button. We've got breakdowns, predictions, some hot takes, statistical driven sports coverage for you and we cover a variety of topics, leagues, and more today on the College Football Kickoff Show. As you can see on the screen, for those of you watching, it says What's on Tap, powered by Athletic Brewing Company. And with that, I got to crack open one. Before we dive in, got to give a quick shout out to the sponsors. Of course, Athletic Brewing Company for keeping us poured up at the beginning of the show. Southwest Airlines, as we're going to take a flight across the nation and look at games across the country here momentarily. CBD for Life, who's going to present to you a coin toss where those games a little more relaxed, a little more chilled, and they're really a toss-up for folks that are picking games. And then SeatGeek, as we present the best seat in the house, as we give you the game of the week this week. And then Fanatics, as they fuel our fan final play. Well, first up, let's pour it up real quick. Athletic. Look, the tap is flowing with playoff implications this week. We're seeing ranked teams on the ropes. Underdogs are barking quite loud. Coaches on the hot seat may be cooling off, or are they? But pour yourself up a cold one, as we like to say. Grab a cold one with us as we present Athletics What's on Tap, as presented by is the leading non-alcoholic brewing company in the nation. They're going to be refreshing. They're going to be great tasting as well. Now, let's get into the hot topics. Hot topic number one is, will we see a college football snub? We saw it a few years back in the case of Florida State. With the ACC again, could we potentially see the ACC left out? So there's numerous paths to the ACC championship right now. If Duke wins out, they're in. If Georgia Tech wins out, they're in. Okay, that's the simplest path. SMU wins if they win out and Georgia Tech lost. Virginia wins with a win out and a Georgia Tech loss. Pitt wins out with no more than one other team finishing 7-1, and then Miami wins out. Plus, they need like 3 other teams to lose. It's crazy. But when you look at this bracket, if Duke potentially wins the ACC, there's potentially a scenario where we could see Duke not make the college football playoff. Now, they've been a grindy team. They've been a defense that's pretty stingy, and offense that seems to be finding its rhythm with Darian Mensah, really talented quarterback. If you watch this young man live, and I have watched him in person, his arm strength is incredible, but it's his legs that is really what's impressive. It's just how fast he really is. Kid's really quick, incredible athleticism, and if they win out, including the title game, you're telling me a one-loss ACC champion gets the cold shoulder? I just don't see it happening. But we want to know what you think. So drop your takes over in the comments or over on X at 4-Star Sports M. And then next topic on the hot topics is, are the firings over for now? We've seen the carousel really hit. We saw it hit warp speed there for a moment, but last week, for the first time since September 12th, I believe is what it is, 13th, one of the two, we had not seen a head coach get fired in college football since mid-September. Last week was the first week we have not seen a coach get let go. Is it the calm before the storm? I mean, as we head into week 12, it's a lot of matchups, and we're going to get into it here momentarily. By the way, this show is going to lead right up into the Ouachita Sports Digital Network's broadcast of the Battle of the Ravine. Now, didn't necessarily time it that way, but it is going to time out that way. So I do want to promote those guys. I had Isaac Bourne on earlier this week, but I do want to promote that as well. But big name coaches, right, on the move. We saw this morning potentially, or according to Pete Thamel, and I mean Pete's very reliable. According to Pete Thamel, Virginia Tech and James Franklin are in the early stages of having him as named as the next head football coach. So when you look around the country, you've got Arkansas open, you've got Stanford is really technically open, you've got LSU open, you've got Florida open, James Franklin potentially off the board. That's the domino that everybody's been waiting to fall. What will we see happen? Who knows? But what I do know is it's time to get to a little upset alert. All right, so shift gears over to upset alert. These are kind of off the radars, and it's sponsored by your bookie's worst nightmare. These are games that are flying under the radar. The spreads could flip scripts, okay? First off, we head to Lexington, Kentucky, as Tennessee Tech makes the trip. Kentucky is favored by 21.5. Tech comes in 10-0, a gritty FCS team. They've covered in tough spots before. We saw Kentucky get a big win last week over Florida. Could we potentially see, and I'm not saying upset as far as Kentucky is going to lose. I'm saying upset alert as far as spread is concerned. 21.5 right now for Kentucky. Tennessee Tech comes in, like I said, ranked, undefeated, 10-0, unscathed. If this Tech defense can force some turnovers in this game, can force Kentucky into some not so friendly situations, they could be on upset alert as far as the spread is concerned. All right, up next, we're going to go over to Air Force at UConn. This game's going to be a very interesting game. UConn's 7.5-point favorite. You look at Air Force, triple option. They also do throw the little ball a little bit, but it's a nightmare. Their offense is a nightmare for defense. You look at UConn, Jim Mora, defensive guy, really smart football coach, been around the league and college for many, many years. What takes place? What happens? UConn, could the Falcons control the clock? They get a lead. UConn gets the ball. Maybe a turnover. Maybe a turnover on downs. Who knows? 7.5. UConn gonna have to keep, or Air Force gonna try to keep it close. Potentially upset when it comes to the spread. Okay, once again, not saying upset as far as the team's gonna win, that UConn's gonna beat or lose to Air Force. Same, you look at the spread. I think there is a chance there. All right, it's time to take a jet. Just jump on the jet. Head over to Southwest Airlines games around the country. We pick one marquee matchup from each conference, brought to you by Southwest. You want to get away from the game? Book now. Book Southwest Airlines. We'll start in the ACC. Game day is there today. Number 9, Notre Dame at number 22, Pitt, 11 a.m. on ABC. The Irish are favored by 12.5. The over-under this game is 53.5. We talked about it just a second ago. Pitt still in the picture for the ACC. We heard Pat Narduzzi earlier this week talk about how, in so many words, I'm paraphrasing here, this game doesn't matter. We're more worried about ACC play. Coach, I understand what you're saying. I just, coming from Pat Narduzzi, I would have never thought I would see that. Pitt defensively is really good. Quarterback's playing really, really well right now for Pitt. You look at Notre Dame, they're loaded offensively, potentially Heisman running back in Jeremiah Love. This game's going to be fireworks. It's going to be a lot of fun over in the ACC. Let us know in the comments who are you picking in these games. Let us know over on X as well at 4-Star Sports. And appreciate everyone watching and listening. As right now we're going through across the Southwest Airlines scoreboard as we take one game from each conference. Let's go over to the American. Is number 24 South Florida heads to Annapolis to take on Navy. 11 a.m. ESPN2. Bulls are a 10-point favorite. Over under this game is 62.5. USF speed, Navy's triple option, ball control, Bynum Brown. What's going to happen there? Now, we saw Blake Horvath go down last week for Navy. How will that affect this team as Navy took on Notre Dame last week? Could be a shootout. And I know that's crazy considering Navy's a triple option team, but don't be fooled. Newberry, head coach at Navy, prides himself on having more balanced offense, meaning they will throw the football out of triple option formations. Don't be fooled. Navy will throw the football against you. Big time ball game in the American today. This game has a lot of college football playoff potential riding on it, as right now South Florida, the darling, number 24, with JMU sitting right behind them. Then you've got a stack of teams out of the American that are all just sitting right there, 1-2 losses, potentially trying to work their way in. When you look at the group of 6 right now, very, very intriguing league is the American. We thank everybody for watching and listening. We got started with watching. Sturt said, I like Air Force, calling it now. Yeah, I think that's a good pick right there, man. I think when you look at the spread in that game, Air Force definitely checks out. Yeah, and he's talking about South Florida as well. South Florida over under 6.5. He said, give me the under. Interesting. Give me the under. Okay. But appreciate everyone watching, listening. Let's go over to the Big Ten as number 21, Iowa, heads out west. Number 17, USC. This game's 2:30 over on the Big Ten Network today. Trojans minus 6.5. Over under 48.5. It's classic Big Ten slugfest meets Pac-12 flair, right? Iowa, more turn and burn, 3 yards in a cloud of dust. You got Lincoln Riley, USC. How will they play? This is a big game for USC. Right now, when you look at USC's schedule, the best win on their schedule is Michigan. You get a win against Iowa. A team is playing really well right now. Very interesting. Over under 48.5. Interesting. That's a ball game where you talk about the teams going east, teams going west. As much as Lincoln Riley likes to complain about having to travel, he needs to not forget teams still have to come to him. So I don't know really why he complains about that. All right, let's go over to the SEC as number 11 Oklahoma Sooners head down to Tuscaloosa to take on the number 4 Alabama Crimson Tide. 2:30 p.m. kickoff on ABC. Tide is a 6.5-point favorite. Over under this game is 46.5. This game is a de facto college football playoff eliminator. If Oklahoma wins this game, it drastically improves. Drastically improves their college football playoff resume. Whereas if Alabama loses, it's a big time loss for Bama, especially at home. And also, you think about Kellen DeBoer, think about how good he is against top 25 teams. This is a big test. John Mateer playing better. Ben Arbuckle, the offense has been just kind of marinating all year. I'm waiting on this offense to explode. It could very well happen against Alabama. When you look at it on the Oklahoma defensive side of things, the pressure. You've got to get pressure on Ty Simpson today. You get pressure on Ty Simpson. Now, yes, he's got weapons everywhere. Running back, tight end, wide receiver, especially look at the tight ends for this Brian Grubb offense for Alabama under Kellen DeBoer. Really utilizing the tight ends recently in their film. And Oklahoma, pressure. Probably one of the top defenses in the country. They get pressure with their defensive line. They bring exotic blitzes as well. Brent Venables is always going to do this as a coordinator. And if you play defense for him, you're going to learn. You're going to know how to blitz. But today, that's a key for this game. How much pressure can they get on Ty Simpson? And then off that, how does Ty Simpson react to it? Big ball game in the SEC today, and there's a lot of games good around the country. I just went through and picked one that kind of stood out to me across the country. All right, let's go Sun Belt as Texas State heads to Southern Miss. 2:30 p.m. on ESPN Plus. Golden Eagles 3.5-point favorite over under 64.5. Fun Belt chaos. I expect a lot of points. It's an under the radar gym. And other thing is this: when you look at Texas State, if you go back and roll the tape back, I talked about it when we got on air and talked about how they were leaving and going to the Pac-12. I was very interested this year to watch how other teams played them, how the outcome happened. Here we go. Can they go into Southern Miss and get a win, or does Charles Huff continue a remarkable season down in Hattiesburg, Mississippi, as he continues to grow and this Southern Miss program continues to win ball games? All right, let's go over to the Big 12 as number 13 Utah heads down to Baylor, 6 p.m. on ESPN2. The Utes are a 8.5-point favorite. Over under is 60.5. Look, folks, there's one thing I know about sports, and that is defense travels, right? Defense is going to travel everywhere. When you look at Utah, defensively, they're going to travel every single place they go. Now, I will say this. You look at Baylor right now, Mack Rhodes, we talked about it. He had to step away due to personal reasons. There's multiple investigations going on regarding him right now as an athletic director. He steps away. There's a little bit of turmoil around this team right now. Dave Aranda really fighting right now to potentially keep his job. He's a coach that we've talked about on the hot seat the last couple of years, really down there in Waco. But Baylor needs a statement win at home, and this would be it. This would be the statement win by Baylor. And then you look at Utah, you get spanked. Texas Tech spanks you. Then you turn around, and now one loss could potentially turn in to two. And then finally, we head over to Conference USA as we look at Kennesaw State at Jacksonville State, 7 p.m. on ESPNU. The Owls, yes. The Owls are minus 3.5-point favorite. Over under is 55.5. It's a battle of birds, as you've got the Owls versus the Gamecocks. So, battle of the birds, little bird. Bird is the word. Kennesaw has got momentum right now, playing really well under Jerry Mack. And then you look at Jacksonville State. Look, they're bowl bound. They're going bowling. They had a cool little video where the guy was bowling the helmet. Pretty cool. The Gamecocks are no slouch. It's going to be a fun game on ESPNU. CUSA has ways of delivering late at night. They've got a way of delivering at that primetime spot where you're watching other games, and then you look up and you're like, whoa. This is a hell of a game from Conference USA. This is why. Right here. So, yeah, no doubt, man. No doubt. All right, fun stuff. All right, let's go. Let's see. I know some of you guys are probably out here just thinking, All right, let's go over to CBD for Life coin toss games of the week as we present CBD for Life naturally growing through these. We're flipping on three intriguing matchups where it's honestly anyone's contest. We're going to the ACC first. As we look at Virginia at Duke, we talked about Duke just a few minutes ago, how they can potentially not make the ACC playoff, the college football playoff, if they run the table and win the ACC. Now, this is a must-win. 2:30 game on ESPN2. Duke's a 3.5-point favorite. Their conference title hopes are literally on the line, and as is Virginia. This is going to be a lot of fun game. Virginia could play spoiler again. They could have to go on the road to do it, but they could play spoiler again for Manny Diaz and the Blue Devils. 3.5-point favorite. That is a pick'em game, aka it's a coin toss. Second game is the Longhorns and the Dogs. Texas at Georgia. Georgia's a 6.5-point favorite. Battle of quarterbacks right here. Gunnar Stockton, Arch Manning. How can they do? Arch has really been impressive how he's improved throughout the year. Obviously, a lot earlier in the year, a lot of people really wrote him off as being a bust, all that other stuff. He's really worked on his footwork, worked on his mechanics as the year has gone. You can tell Sark's really doing a better job of putting him in more situations where he's going to improve mentally, and he's going to keep a positive mindset. But big time game, man, in the trenches. That's what this game's going to come down to. In the trenches, can Texas stay with Georgia in the trenches? Can they stand for Georgia to lean on them for 4 quarters, and then when Georgia gets them in a phone booth and they want to start a fight, can Texas withstand that fight? 6.5-point favorite for Georgia. This is a pick'em. This is a pick'em right here. Going to be a lot of fun. Coin toss game right here out of the SEC. And then the third one, also out of the SEC, but Mississippi State at Missouri. Bulldogs could be barking for an upset here, potentially. Missouri at home does play well. Look, State's got nothing. They're potentially going for a bowl game right here. They're playing with just hair on fire. All things are left out. Big time game right here. If you're Eli Drinkwitz, you don't want to lose this game to Mississippi State. It could really hurt your season. Really, really hurt your season. All right. Coins in the air. Who you got? Mississippi State at Missouri. It's a coin toss game. 6.5-point favorite for the Tigers. Drop your predictions in the comments below and check out CBD for Life for that extra edge off the field. It's the edge without the effect. All right, folks, we've got roughly a half hour left. It's time to jump over to the Sports Geek moment of the week, game of the week is what this is, because this is going to be worth every second. Let's drop everything. We're crossing Highway 67 in Arkadelphia, Arkansas, because it's time for the SeatGeek game of the week, which is the 98th edition of the Battle of the Ravine. Head over to SeatGeek now. Use promo code 4StarSportsN for $20 off your first ticket purchase. This is the focus of today's show. It's time to get in depth. 0.08 miles. That's it. That's the distance from, honestly, your front porch to probably your neighbor's mailbox. But this is D2 football, and it is Arkadelphia, Arkansas, as one team, one city comes together for one game between two teams that are separated by a highway. Cliff Harris Stadium, where Ouachita Baptist plays. Carpenter Haygood Stadium, where Henderson State plays. Highway 67 splits them like a referee's whistle. Nothing splits this town on game day. This is D2 football at its rawest, okay? There's no fancy TV contracts. There's no NIL deals. It's pure love for your university while loving the same city as your rival. Arkadelphia, Arkansas shuts down. We've been there. We were there just a few years back. They shut down. The Mariners declared it Ravine Week. It's the Battle of the Ravine. Tailgates start well before dawn. OBU fans are clad in purple. Henderson State fans are clad in red. And it's been blood, sweat, and tears and small town glory. And today, at 1 o'clock, is the 98th edition. Now, where can you watch this, you may ask? Well, you can watch it free. You can watch it on the Watchtower Sports Digital Network YouTube channel. Like I said, pregame starts at 11 a.m. You can also listen to it on KAR and FN 102.9 across the state as Rex Nelson and the radio team bring the game to life. This series potentially was going to have College Game Day. We talked to Isaac Bourne, like I said earlier. We talked to him earlier in the week. And he talked about, hey, this series is not going anywhere. They can always come back for the 100th. Now, right now, Ouachita leads this series 47, 46, and 6. The last 5 meetings have all been one-score games. Last year, Ouachita won the game 27-20. It's a fourth quarter absolute knife fight, as 8 of the last 9 have been decided by 7 points or less. 1 went to overtime. And as I learned when I was there, this is not just a rivalry. This is a rite of passage. This is a way of life on these campuses. And when you look at these two programs this year, as we get into the games, and we'll start with the home Ouachita Tigers. 7-3 on the year, 6-game winning streak. As we know, the GAC plays a 10-game conference schedule. Head coach Todd Knight, winningest coach in Arkansas history at any level. He's 167 and 106 in 26 seasons at Ouachita Baptist. He was recently in 2025 inducted into the Arkansas Sports Hall of Fame. This team started 1-3. They lost on the road at ECU. They lost at home to Arkansas Tech. They lost at Harding. And they've been battling quarterback injuries all year, as we saw. Nate Tinbarge, the passing leader, by the way, has been out over a month. And you saw true freshman Trey Nichols come in. He got hurt late last week. Then you saw also true freshman Jordan Walker come in, step in, go 4 or 5 for 85 yards, including a 51-yard bomb to Carter McElhaney for the win, 42-38, as they went on the road last week and won at Southwest Oklahoma. 6 straight wins for the Tigers as they enter today's Battle of the Ravine. I talked about McElhaney. He's probably, potentially, perhaps, however you want to word it, he may be the Great American Conference's most dangerous. He has 7 touchdown catches, which leads the league. He has 674 reception yards, which is second. He has a 99-yard kickoff return in week 1, which was the GAT Special Teams Player of the Week. He has 5 kickoff returns for 171 yards total. When you look at the team, just some stats that jump off the page to us. They're the number 1 red zone offense, scoring 82.9% of the time when they get inside the red zone. They have the number 1 passing efficiency. They have the number 1 turnover margin, which is plus 14. They forced 24 turnovers as they have 11 interceptions and 13 fumble recoveries. 6 of those fumble recoveries have come from linebacker Justin Crutchmer, tied for team and leading in recoveries. They have 16 defenses forced, 18 fumbles, and 0 defensive touchdowns this year. It's a bend but don't break style. They capitalize on mistakes. They win the field possession game and they're playing about as well as anyone in the Great American Conference right now as they close the season. And they also understand, hey, this is not going to be a playoff year, but we can go win against the street. Now, when you look at the team across the street, Henderson State Reddies, they come in 7-3 on the year. They've won the last 2 games. They're in their second year under head coach Greg Holsworth. He's already passed the 8 previous Henderson State head coach in career wins. He has a 714% winning percentage. It's 5th in program history. Who does he have leading his offense? Quarterback Andrew Edwards. He is the Great American Conference Triple Crown quarterback. Right now, he's leading in passing yards, passing touchdowns, total offense. He's responsible for 3. He's a 3-time GAC Player of the Week. He's been the rushing leader 4 times this season. He has a 64.6 completion percentage. That's 17th in Division II, all of Division II football nationally. Their passing attacks, number 1 in completion percentage. Their top targets, number 1's Caden Davis. He's an All-American tight end, top 4 in every receiving category. Number 2 is wide receiver Maddox Davis. He's 6th in the GAC in yards. And number 3 is Micah Green. He's 11th. Combined, they have over half of Henderson State's production. They have 10 touchdowns and over 1,377 yards combined, those 3 targets. When you look at the ground games, dual-headed, you've got Jeremiah Davis and Edwards, both 47 yards per game. They're 6th. The team, Henderson State, is 6th in the GAC, roughly 180 yards a game. Defensively for the Reddies, they're top 4 in the GAC in third down defense, defensive touchdowns, and first downs allowed, interceptions, pass yards allowed, rush defense, scoring defense, and total defense. In other words, this team is stacked defensively. Absolutely stacked. Speaking of defensively, linebacker Gerard Coletta, redshirt freshman, has got 80-plus tackles this year, leads the team by 30. He has 30 more tackles than anybody else in this team, 7.5 tackles, 4 loss, 2.5 sacks. 11 defenders have 20 or more tackles. 6 of them are underclassmen. And then full circle moment for here at us at 4-Star Sports Media. But special teams-wise, you look at this Reddies team, it's Taylon Pascal. Young man out of Crossett, Arkansas. We know Taylon personally. He's the first Reddy in the Great American Conference era with both a kickoff return touchdown and a punt return touchdown in the same season, as he had a 95-yard kickoff return touchdown last week. Kick return touchdown last week. So when you look at this Reddies team, they're 7-3. They've won 2 games in a row. Their offense is humming. Their defense is incredible, and they've got a special teams weapon. And then you look at just the history. 5 straight one-possession games. Last year, across the street, the 97th edition was at Henderson. At the end of the first quarter, it was 3-3. Ouachita State hit a 60-yard bomb for a touchdown, followed by a 29-yard field goal for Henderson, as Ouachita took a 10-6 lead into halftime. The third quarter, no one scored. And then fourth quarter, you saw Ouachita have to come back to score late. Plus, Henderson drove the ball down to the Ouachita 40, as Ouachita had to get a 4th down stop to win the game. Five straight one-possession games. This isn't about the playoffs. Both teams were 7-3. This is about who owns Arkadelphia, Arkansas for 365 days. For the Tigers of Ouachita, for the Purple of Tigers, you want to cap a 6-game streak, send Coach Knight into the offseason with 168 wins. For Henderson, you want 8 wins for the 6th straight year and a 3-game streak going into 2026. When you look at the matchups of this game, there's a multitude. But we're going to go look at 3. Special teams is special in Arkadelphia. You've got McElhaney versus Pascal. And one return could flip this game. That's a matchup number 1. Who is going to make the special play in special teams in the 98th edition of the Battle of the Ravine? Key matchup number 2 is in the trenches. Henderson State's got a top 4 rushing defense. You look at Ouachita, balanced attack, freshman quarterback, weapons on the outside, weapons in the backfield. And then matchup number 3, quarterback Edwards for Reddies versus the OBU secondary. Can the Tigers force another turnover, or will Edwards slice up the Tigers? '98th edition, Battle of the Ravine, Arkadelphia, Arkansas. The Battle of Arkadelphia. It's the shortest distance in all of college football between 2 schools. When you look at predictions, I don't know. I do think it's going to be another 1-score classic. I'm not going to bet my house on it. But I don't know. I think the biggest key in this game is special teams. Like I said, McElhaney versus Pascal. Will Talon Pascal make the play, or will Ricardo McElhaney make the play? Will they even kick to those 2 guys? Will they try to completely alienate those players from making plays? I think I'm going to take Ouachita in this game, 31-27. I think it's another close one. But I think the Tigers get the win and finish the season on a 7-game winning streak to finish the year 8-3. But folks, if you want great football, I know there's a bunch of really good football on today. But this is college football distilled down to its core. It is college football just at its very core. It's distilled to its essence. If you can watch this game at 1 o'clock, do yourselves a favor. You won't be let down, I promise you. I promise you it won't. But as we jump over to the Fanatics final play. Oh, and by the way, you can also stream it for free. So that's even more of a win. As we jump over to the Fanatics final play, today's going to be a great day of college football. It's Saturday, November 15th. From South Bend to Arkadelphia, rivalries are stitching towns together. 0.08 miles. 98 years. one town, two hearts. Enjoy every snap and every band-aid, every band riff, every tailgate high five. Enjoy it all. Because at the end of the day, college football is what this country needs. The Battle of the Ravine is what college football needs. If you don't know about the Battle of the Ravine, check it out. We've tried to do a good job today of breaking the game down. 98th edition of the Battle of the Ravine, Arkadelphia, Arkansas, as Henderson State crosses the street over to Ouachita Baptist, 1 o'clock p.m. over on the Ouachita Sports Digital Network. I'm telling you guys, if you love college football, you've got to watch it. You may not have to watch it live, right? Tune in. Ouachita Baptist, Henderson State. It is this sport at its essence. It is distilled. This is what college football is. Check it out. Once we finish here, head over to the Ouachita Sports Digital Network, where they will be beginning their pregame show, biggest pregame show of the year, according to Isaac Bourne, who we talked to earlier this week. We appreciate everyone watching and listening. Craig, happy Saturday to you too, brother. Appreciate everyone watching and listening. And as always, folks, stay classy out there.